Hello and welcome inside the chapel of the Tower of London. For this, the last recording of A Thought for the Day before we break for the summer and start again in September. I thought you might like to see the flowers behind me, which were for one of the many weddings that I've been doing over the last week. And this was last Saturday's wedding of Sam and of Nancy, and not only beautiful flowers, but a lovely wedding as well. I want to start by thanking David Suchet, Colin, Master of Music, Cortland, of course, and Debbie, the chapel administrator, for all that they've done in support of these Thought for the Day newsletter and the online service over the last few months. They all deserve a break, and I'm sure you would agree with me. And so I hope that over this next month of August, they'll come back feeling refreshed and rejuvenated, ready to start again in September. And on all our behalfs, I want to thank them for all that they have done. I've been thinking all the last week about refugee children. It's really got on into my conscience and into my mind. It started for two reasons. One is that Barbara and I had the great joy, as many of you know, just very recently in having our daughter Harriet, our husband Joel, and their three little girls living with us again for a few days as they transited between Panama, where they've been living, and Singapore, where they have now moved to. Having these three little dynamos chasing round the chaplain's house has been just wonderful, although we're quite relieved that the noise level has dropped a bit now. But we miss them, and we miss them desperately, and wish them well out in their new life when they're in Singapore. That, coupled with at exactly the same time, I listened to a news report on the BBC of the number of refugee children in Syria, Libya, and now beginning to be identified in the northern regions of Ethiopia, in Tigray, where many of you know I spent some time just a couple of years ago. I hadn't appreciated just how many orphan children there are in these regions. It runs not into tens, not into hundreds, but in some cases into thousands. There was the story of two little mites, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old in Libya, whose parents had been killed, grandparents killed, older brother and sister killed. These two little ones followed a group of other children for over a week until they found their way into a refugee camp. With little food, no clothes, little hope, no one to tuck them up at night, no one to hold them. You can tell I even feel quite emotional talking about it. My heart went out to them. And so I wanted to think about that with you today. I want to say, first of all, a really big thank you to every single one of you who's continued to support the chapel financially through your CAF giving and also through your regular giving and also since we've come back to church, because that has enabled us to continue our giving. You've given to us that's enabled us to give out to others. And there's some money left over. Nick, our chapel accountant, reminded me just fortuitously in the last week that there was some money I still hadn't spent. And I am going to respond by trying to spend that money on these children. I'm going to find a way through UNHCR or Save the Children, both of whom I've read about online, who are helping and doing all they can to support these children, hundreds if not thousands of small children destitute in refugee camps. So I want to thank you for that. I've been holding them all this last week in my prayers every morning and every evening when I come in here. I'd like you to do the same. I'd also like to thank you again for your support here, but to encourage you, if you see some way through the media, newspaper, radio, television, that you could just give a little bit of support to support children who are in refugee camps, please try to do so. Children, as I was reminded having my own grandchildren here, are our future. They are the future for us. And there can't be anything sadder than some child in a refugee camp wondering where the next meal might come from, wondering where to sleep, and having nobody to hold them, to care for them, and to love them. I'm sure you'll give them your support, and I really thank you for that. And so, as we close for the summer, I wish you all a really happy summer, wherever you are this August. I hope you have some time to rest and find some refreshment. And I look forward to being in touch with you by Thought for the Day newsletter in September, and above all, seeing you, many of you, back here in church when we can worship God together again. May God bless you all, and may your guardian angel watch over you, as I hope and pray he watches over all those children. Thank you.